Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Holiday, reporting from Shamrock Central. Well, it's the day before St. Patrick's Day. And tonight, I'm going to talk to you about a time-honored tradition that I didn't know existed in America until recently. I got a phone call from our goddaughter's mother, who informed me that Olivia needed to make something called a leprechaun trap. And I said, a leprechaun trap? What is a leprechaun trap? Back in my day, we did not make leprechaun traps. I heard of green milk, I've heard of green beer, I've heard of green eggs and ham, but never a leprechaun trap. She proceeds to tell me that this is a time-honored tradition now in most elementary schools across America. Well, being the skeptic that I am and the believer, as Ronald Reagan said, trust but verified, I said, I better do some homework. I decided to go to my local Walmart because Walmart really represents the heart of America. And what do I see on the end cap? But a special limited edition of Lucky Charms highlighting how to make a leprechaun trap. Well, I thought this must be legitimate, but I still need to do a little bit more due diligence. I got home, and what do you do when you get home? You ask Alexa, Alexa, how do you make a leprechaun trap?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Well, that left me a little perplexed. And I wanted to make sure whatever I did was ethical and proper and followed all the rules of what leprechaun trapping consists of. And you might be asking yourself, what's up with the camouflage, Mr. Holiday? Well, we're going trapping. And in Minnesota, you always wore camouflage because you don't want to be seen. But it's also important to remember that whenever we're out hunting, as I learned at Elam Lutheran Church in my gun safety class, we need to ensure that we have the proper attire. So we start with a camouflage shirt. I've got my orange jacket. And what else? But if we're going trapping, we're going safely. And that means wearing protective glasses. So, before we begin, I want to go across the street to my friends at PETA to ensure whatever we do is ethical and a fair treatment to all leprechauns across America.
Mr. Holiday used best efforts to contact PETA representatives. Unfortunately, PETA representatives thought Mr. Holiday was eccentric and a freak, and they chose not to speak with him.
Well, I'm back from PETA, and as you saw, they gave me the cold shoulder. So I have no choice but to go with my gut. But before we get started, I wanted to do one last check. Is this activity really a values-driven activity that I want children to partake in? So I thought, who better to call since I'm in Washington, D.C., but Betsy DeVos? Unfortunately, Betsy was a little busy and couldn't get back to me. So I did some further thinking and I was like, could it be? No, it can't be. But let's just double check. Is there a chance that this could be a right-wing conspiracy theory to infiltrate children about border safety? Nah. It's just a fun activity. Before we do the big reveal of Mr. Holiday's leprechaun trap, I'd like to take this opportunity to talk to our goddaughter, Olivia. Olivia, whatever you create is going to be beautiful. But the time has come to have a very, very difficult conversation. Sometimes life cannot be fair. There's winners and losers. It's okay to lose, and it's even better to win, but at the end of the day, everyone's going to love you for who and what you are. But that being said, I have a few tips. Wear green. Also,
tap your mother on the shoulder and say, Mom, make one of those great sweet treats that you bring to class, because maybe the judges will like it and they might want to lean my way. But if it's clear in the terms and conditions that sweet treats are not allowed, then don't do it. And at the end of the day, you're in it to win it. So go, Olivia, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Mr. Holiday's Leprechaun Trap is driven by 3 basic principles: sustainability, theme, and green. Throughout the trap, you see the use of natural shamrocks as well as daffodils. When you enter in, there is a more than hospitable welcome. Welcome all leprechauns. And what do we want to do to engage those leprechauns? Well, we start out with a fun, sweet treat of Lucky Charms, limited edition, shamrock, marshmallow, green trail of fun. And then we see our 2 friends, our gender neutral, fluid trolls. They're here to say, welcome, come in, come in. As you enter the trap, you see a nice aura of green light. It's very appealing. You smell the sweet, marshmallowy smell of those shamrocks. And as you approach, you're encouraged to come closer and closer and closer. And we come across 3 fun little gnomes who say, welcome, welcome to Leprechaun Land. And then we go over there, and who doesn't love a unicorn and rainbows filled with magical wishes and dreams? At this point, the leprechaun is so engaged that they turn and they look and they see, OMG, I see gold. And that warm green light gets them to come closer and closer and closer. Oh, but look at the green wire. What happens when that leprechaun steps on those gold coins? That green wire ignites, and they're temporarily paralyzed and tasered. And then comes the trap down on top of the leprechaun, and we've got him. After about a half an hour, the leprechaun wakes up. You have a catch and release leprechaun trap. Everyone's safe. You come home with the green man on your shoulders, and the green man leaves by the end of the night to come back next year to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. This is Mr. Holiday, and remember, life is better with a theme.